All right. Well, we are. Yeah, yeah, we are. Well, listen, go ahead on. Let's get everybody in. We are. Let's go ahead on and tag and share. Let's get everybody into the broadcast. Let's get everybody in. Want to say good afternoon and once again, welcome to, that's right, it's the Greg James Community Show right here on, that's right, Hallelujah 95.3. Certainly want to say good afternoon to all of those who are driving, those who are at home. Want to say good afternoon to all of you who are tuning in on our social media outlets. We want you to go ahead on and tag and share. Let's get everybody in. Want to take a few minutes to get you to get engaged in tagging and get engaged in sharing. Let's go ahead on and get all of our social virtual listeners tuned in to the Greg James Community Show on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon. So much going on in and around the city today. Downtown at the Leon County Courthouse, it's the celebration of the Martin Luther King commemoration. FAMU's president, Dr. Beard, is getting ready to deliver I'm sure it's going to be a powerful message to those who are in attendance. Had a chance to just stop by there for a few minutes and was able to see a good friend of Tallahassee's, none other than former Representative Alan Williams, who was awarded for his hard work for the community throughout the DC area. So delighted. Had a chance to see him. So many good things that are going on. Also, right across the street, our legislative session is getting ready to gear up. That's right, for an amazing, challenging legislative session. So I want to say good afternoon to those of you who are online. Go ahead on and tag and share. So much is happening. We are in the midst of a shift. And certainly when there's a shift that is taking place, you got to understand you're called to be bold. And you got to know how to make bold moves. And that's what we're going to be talking about today with an amazing, phenomenal young lady who has joined us. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about what she's going to be doing right here. But in the meantime, I need you all to go ahead on and tag and share. And let's get everybody tuned in. It's a brand new year. And there is so much going on in 2025. Last week, we had on the show with me Pastor Stanley Walker from the Tabernacle Church, along with Pastor Hagler from the Jacob Chapel. And one of the things that we were gearing up for was for our men's worship experience that was going to happen on Friday. I want to let all of you know that that has been postponed for a later date. We're in the process now of meeting with pastors. A call have gone out to over 500 pastors, and now we're getting responses that, hey, what do I need to do to get involved? So we wanted to make sure that before we launch the All Men Initiative, not only just in church, but in communities, we wanted to have every pastor to the table so that they can be engaged in helping facilitate the change that needs to take place in and around our communities. So the Friday night services will not be held. It's going to be done at a later date, which you will be made aware of. But tonight over at the Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, Pastor Sean Williams from the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church will be preaching as a part of their 21 days of prayer and fasting. I want to encourage all of you, if you're not doing anything tonight, let's get out and become a part of the worship experience. That's right. Pastor Sean Williams used to be the pastor over at the First Elizabeth Church in Gadsden, and now he's in Miami, Florida, and he will be over at the Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church on tonight. That's at 7 p.m. I want to say good afternoon to Pastor Stephen Caldwell. He's gearing up for a first-time home buyers seminar workshop over in the Gretna area. I'm going to get a chance to talk to him a little bit about that. I want you to go ahead on and tag and share. I want you to get engaged in the conversation today. I want to say good afternoon to Sanjay. I want to say good afternoon to Marcus Manning, one of our leading men in the work that we're getting ready to do when it comes to empowering men in our community. So certainly want you all to be engaged, especially all of our men. So much is happening on the national level. We're days away. Hey, that's right, from the inauguration. New president is getting ready to come into an office. It's the celebration of Martin Luther King birthday. So much is going on, and whether we embrace or whether we don't embrace what is to be has been, and therefore you and I, as believers in the body of Christ, have a responsibility to call on the God that we know for this community and for this nation. And certainly we're excited about it. Well, listen, I'm excited about my guest who's joining me today. And I want to encourage all of you that are on our live to go ahead on the tag, share. Those of you who are listening in your cars, at home, listen, I'm excited to have you here. This is our second show for 2025, and certainly our first show. Pamela, good to see you. Carolyn, delighted to have you. Was an amazing show, and certainly today I'm excited about our guest. So let me introduce to you the young lady who's joining us on today, and certainly I want you to know that she is going to be bringing in it at the close of this. She's got a nice announcement that she's going to be making, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I want to say good afternoon to you, Miss Felicia Jackson, CEO. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, she can. Yes, she can.
Yes. Got it.
How are you?
All is well. Well is all. How are you?
All is well, and well is all. Now describe that. Describe all is well and well is all.
Because it is. In spite of what we're going through, in spite of obstacles that comes our way, we have to believe that all will be well. And in the midst of that, we just have choices to make. Whether we're throwing a pity party, whether we're upset, whether we're going isolation, once you finish all of that, you still have a choice to make. And that choice should lead to everything being well, because all is well.
Wow. Yeah. Listen, for those of you who are listening to the broadcast and you're part of our social media platform, I need you right now to just go ahead on and put all is well. And I mean, and when you said that, you said all is well and well is all, I automatically thought about the Shunammite woman who was told by the prophet, and this is not a part of our script, but when you said that, it meant a whole lot to me, because people got to know that all is well and well is all. And I thought about when she made a room on her house for the prophet, and she didn't have to do it, but she did. And when she did it, whenever he would travel, he would come by and rest. And he asked her, is there anything that I can do for you? And she said nothing. She didn't have a child. And he said, by this time next year, you're going to give birth. She did, just like he said. But also what happened? She lost that child. And in the midst of that, she told her servants to bring her the donkey. She was going to see the prophet who gave her this prophetic word. But in the midst of her getting it, she got the child, but she lost the child. But on her way to the prophet, all she could say, it is well. No matter what it looked like, no matter what it felt like, no matter what the facts were, she declared that it is well. And I believe that's the resolve that we must take, no matter what we face, no matter what we encounter. I think that is the three words that got to be a part of our speaking. It is well. We got to be able to release into the atmosphere that it is well, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like. We got to be able to say that. That's right. Alicia Bradley said, all is well and well is all. And when you said that, I think that kind of like shifted me to say to somebody today who's listening to the broadcast, if you can muster up enough strength,
Faith.
enough faith to even look at your situation and declare that all is well, if it can come from your heart and out of your mouth, I promise you, the situation that's troubling you won't trouble you anymore, because you can say all is well.
Absolutely.
And well is all.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, what a way to start, what a way
Yeah.
to start the broadcast. And certainly I'm delighted to have you joining us today. I'm delighted to just dive into what I want to feel like is mandatory for us, and that is to be bold and to make bold moves. So I shared with you that I wanted to talk about being bold. I wanted to talk about making bold moves. What does that mean to you when you hear it?
Bold moves to me is trying something new, stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping into the unknown, going against the grain, having a vision and working towards making that vision come to pass. And sometimes it's not even doing the norm, but that's okay. That's where the boldness comes in. You hear the words, when God gives you a vision, he'll give you provision. It's the same thing with bold moves, and bold moves we can apply in every area of our life, whether it's relationships, down to family, your spouse, down to your career, down to just saying, I want to, break generational curses. So bold moves can be applied in every area of our life. And I think 2025, I know that sounds cliche when people say, oh, it's a new year, new this and that. Sometimes different seasons require different actions behind it. But I really think this is a moment for bold moves. I really think people should begin to step out on faith, think outside the box, be creative, do away with the norm, unlearn to relearn, and just be, confident in the moves that they're making. Know that regardless of which way you choose to go, God is still in the midst of it all.
Wow. One of the things that I know is so important is that and certainly I have to take and make what I'm saying today very much relevant to the word, because when you take a look at being bold, you're taking a look at knowing who I am, knowing what my assignment is, and no matter what I have to face or what I have to deal with, I know who I am. It's kind of like David. He made a bold move when he heard the echoes of the giant Goliath. He did not go to face Goliath. He went to deliver a Uber meal. But in the process, he heard something that triggered him to know that I have enough boldness in me to face you and to defeat you. And this is a season that you're saying, and I'm in agreement, that as we move forward in 2025, there has to be a boldness in how we move.
Absolutely.
What would make you come to the place of knowing that 2025 has to be the place, has to be the year of us being bold?
Let's add to a biblical example. The lady who touched his garment.
Wow.
Tell about the story of the bold move that she made to touch the garment.
Well, I mean, absolutely, it was definitely bold. And ladies, those of you who are listening to the broadcast, I just sense that there is a burden removing anointing that's being released in the atmosphere. I just seen some people who are chatting. I gotta declare all is well.
Yeah.
The bold move that she made was one she had spent all she had. There was no more resources for her to lean on. This is a season where your resources are not going to be available. And you got to make a decision. How bold can I be to get a breakthrough in the midst of the barriers that I'm facing? So her boldness speaks to us today that when resources are not available, you got to have a mindset and a faith that causes you to not look at your situation and your circumstances, but causes you to declare out of your mouth that if I can touch the hem of his garment, I know I should not be making the move that I'm making, because according to the law, with the situation that I'm dealing with, I'm not supposed to be in the crowd doing what I'm doing. But I got enough faith to speak out of my mouth that is going to manifest if I can touch the hem of his garment. I decree and declare now, hallelujah, that the spirit of being bold to get what you need from God is being released. You can't look around at what is around you. Listen, now you got me in an element that I wasn't supposed to be in.
Divine.
You got to see what you are focusing on. Her focus, Yvonne, was that if I can touch the hem of his garment, not if people can pull me back from touching, but if I can touch. So I got to be bold enough to not worry about what they say. I got to be bold enough to not let the obstacles stop me from overcoming. I got to be bold enough to advance over the adversity to get the breakthrough that I want. I come to declare, this is what those of you who are on the chat, I want you to declare, breakthrough is in my boldness. See what you started.
That's the purpose.
Got to be bold. Boldness causes breakthrough.
Absolutely.
So speak on it. I mean, oh my God, we got people. Okay, for those of you who are on the live, listen. Those of you who are on the live, I got notes. I promise you, I got notes, but I'm not even following the notes. Jennifer, breakthrough. I'm not following the notes. Okay, see what you started.
Let's go.
So here we are, and basically on the 15th day of January. And there has to be a bold spirit. There has to be a bold spirit. There has to be bold. You have to be bold enough to make moves that are unconditional.
You have to be willing to make moves that you're not even expecting people to understand. You know, when it comes to bold moves, everyone doesn't have to understand what it is that you're doing. It's your assignment, it's your journey. And we also have to be free of distractions, because just like the lady who touched the garment, she could have listened to the naysayers. She could have listened to those saying she doesn't belong there, you're not worthy, or you don't have, or how dare you. You have to be free of distractions as well when it comes to bold moves. You can't be caught up in the gossip and the negativity and the what's going on here and the what's going on there. What are they doing? They're not deserving. They shouldn't have. You can't get caught up into all of that. You have to go into a place where you're self-reflecting on yourself and say, hey, I want to draw closer to God. I'm ready for something new. I've tried it my way. Let me try it God's way. That's considered boldness. One might not think that's a big deal, but that's boldness, saying that I'm going to surrender to God. That's bold. When you sitting out here in the natural, seeing all the things that's going on in the natural that say, no, no, no. And you're saying that I choose to focus on the supernatural. That's bold. That's a bold move within itself, because you're trusting the unseen. You're trusting the unknown. You're trusting the word of a Bible, of a book that some would just call it. You're trusting the word of a Bible. These are unseen things, but you have to make that decision. And when you make that decision, you have to make sure that you stay focused on what's at hand, what you have to lose, what you have to gain. You have to stay focused on that. And once again, everyone is not going to understand, but I promise you it's worthy. It is worth it. It's very rewarding. Boldness requires a reward. It comes with the territory. It doesn't mean that you're exempt from any storms or troubles or roadblock. It doesn't mean you're exempt from that, but I promise you, God will carry you through those storms. That's what it is.
Wow. Wow, wow, you said something. Kim, thank you so much. Kim says you have to surrender 100%.
Yeah.
Now you said something that I want to stick a pin in, and while you said it, I just took the word bold and turned that into an acronym, and I'll tell you what I just wrote in a minute. But you said to really make bold moves, you have to unlearn what you have learned.
Yeah.
You have to not rely on what you are comfortable with. Do you sense and feel that there are many who have come to the place that they're so comfortable with what they learned that they're not willing to unlearn, and they're so comfortable with what they are comfortable with until they're not willing to get out of their comfort zone?
I think when people are at a place where they're so comfortable with what they're with, they're closed-minded. It's based on their environment. It's based on their upbringing, for sure. And it's also based on their confidence level. You know, you really have to unlearn to relearn. That's a real thing. We've been taught so much in our childhood that we're not figuring out that there was no truth in it until we became adults or wives or husbands or parents or, you know, whatever level we've elevated to. We're finding out that it was all wrong. It was all untrue, you know, so we have to take that responsibility as individuals. Each individual has to say, okay, I want to do better. I want to know. I want the truth. I'm seeking the truth. I'm not seeking what I'm comfortable with. I'm not seeking what's popular. I want the truth. And you have to find that for yourself, because we all know, especially in Black communities, we talk about trauma, we talk about generational curses, we talk about all of those things, and they will keep us hostage until the day that we die, until we as individuals make the decision to say, I want better. I want to do better. I want to seek the truth. I want to live this world. I want to live while I'm living to the best of my abilities with God in the midst of everything. So you have to go back to the drawing board. Remember, everything you have to do has to be intentional. And this has to be something that you really say that I'm going to do. Everything that I do, let me make sure that it aligns with where it is that I'm trying to go in life. You have to be intentional about that. You have to say, this is on purpose. Everything I'm doing is on purpose. It has to align. If it doesn't align, I'm not interested. You ever had situations where you get invited to certain events? They want you to do this over here, want you to speak over here, all this stuff, but it sounds good. You're equipped to do all of those things, but it doesn't align with where you're trying to go. So you have to be bold enough to say, unfortunately, I'm going to have to decline that offer. Although, you know, I'm grateful that you thought of me in such a way, I have to decline that offer. That's boldness, because now you're saying no to things you would normally say yes to, because your focus is on this new thing, this unknown thing. You have to really be intentional about all the moves you make, all the rooms that you step in, and make sure they align with what it is that you're trying to do in life.
And for those of you who just tuned into the broadcast, we are talking with Miss Felicia. And basically, we're talking about, you know, how it is to make bold moves, live in a place of boldness. And you only come to that place when you have come to realize two things. One is that your validation does not come from people, and nor does it come from things. So today, this conversation is life-changing, because there are a lot of us. Kim, let me read what you just said, Kim. Kim says we all have been programmed, and we have to consciously, intentionally reprogram ourselves.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. It's a choice. Once again, it's a choice. It's a choice.
And in making that choice, it means that there will be a lot of people who will be detached.
That's perfect. That's perfect, though.
Okay, why is that perfect? Because we're so accustomed to
yes.
the attachments. We're so accustomed to the applause. We're so accustomed to the validations.
The groups, the cliques.
Yeah,
all of
we're
that.
accustomed to that. So why is that?
That's perfect because, as I mentioned before, you have to be free of distractions. Why would you want to be surrounded by people who are a distraction to your journey? That's perfect. Weed them out. Keep doing what you're doing, and I promise you, it'll be like shedding old skin. It comes with the territory when you're doing something new. They're gonna either gravitate towards you or they're gonna remove themselves. And that's what you want, because why would you want to carry dead weight? I only want to be surrounded when I'm choosing who I surround myself with. We have to be mindful. We're gonna go in rooms that we wouldn't necessarily hang out with them afterwards or let them come to your home or anything. We get that. But when you're being intentional, once again, I only want to be surrounded by like-minded people, thought-provoking conversations, others that are spiritually connected, those that are serious about doing better and being better and learning more and sowing into me and I'm sowing into them in every area of life. Us ministering to each other, us praying for each other, us exchanging resources. That's what I want to be around. So when I choose to be intentional, that's what it looks like for me. My phone barely rings. That's intentional. I don't have phone calls where I'm on the phone gossiping and just negative talk and things like that. Man, we're exchanging laughter, we're exchanging personal stories, resources, ways. Hey, I saw this on social media. I think this would be good for you. Let me send it over to you now. Those are the conversations that we should be having, and God being in the midst of it all, or us going back to God in everything that we do. But you want to be free of those distractions, because we do think, and we've all been guilty of this, we want to be where we're accepted. We've all went through that stage. And once you get older and you gain more wisdom and knowledge, you realize that I could care less about being accepted. The ones that you're seeking approval from, they're admiring your boldness. Really, if you think about it, it's a lot of people that will talk, and the naysayers and things like that, they'll talk about someone that they see doing something out the norm, but they really are praying and hoping and wishing that they had an ounce of courage to do those things. They just don't say it in that way. It's a lot of people now in positions, titles, saying they've been called to do this, called to do that, and they don't want it. They don't want to be there anymore. But they're not bold enough to step away from it and saying, yes, I may have been called to do that. Yes, I may have been equipped. Yes, I may have worked here, but that season is over, because seasons end. God can call us to do something one season. Doesn't mean we got to do it for 24 more seasons. People have to understand that as well. It's boldness into saying, okay, that's up. You have to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit to even hear when God is switching on you, switching seasons on you, and saying it's time for something new. So.
Well, I want to share with you, as like I said, I created this as you were talking earlier when we talk about bold. It for me, I created this from the word bold, believing on Lord's deliverance. So my boldness and being bold means that the deliverance that I'm going to encounter from what I'm comfortable with, I got to believe that the Lord is going to give me the power to break away from that.
Yes.
And you said something earlier, and you could tell me whether or not you have come to grips with knowing that when we look back in retrospect, we have been there for everybody.
That's another episode.
Really?
No, but go ahead.
I mean, and so to know that being there for everybody gives us a sense of self-gratification.
Yeah.
I mean, can we agree with that?
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, it leaves us empty.
Yeah.
Because the question is, who's really there for me? So bold moves in this season means that there has to be a sense of discernment that is over my life to be able to operate in the ministry of saying no and not having no remorse about it. Because this is your life, who I'm talking to. This is your life. And if you're going to live it to the fullness, then there has to be a sense of boldness, and you got to make bold moves during this hour. Go ahead. I know you.
You have to set boundaries. And that goes with every area of our life, in career and relationships. You can't allow access to you from everyone.
Wow. Wait. So you got to deny access. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. You have to be picky about it. This is you we're talking about. Top level, you. You only get one body. This is all you. So we have to be mindful of who we allow access to us. We're valuable. Each and every one of you out there on the live listening, you're valuable. You have to limit your access that you give to others, because not everyone means well. Not everyone should even be a part of your journey. You know, not everyone should be in every season. Think about this. You can't have different seasons that change. In the summertime, do we still wear coats? In the wintertime, do we still?
Now you got on a coat in summertime.
You know,
I don't think something wrong.
Yes, do we wear? Every season requires something different. If we just think of the weather by itself, but also every season requires a different piece of equipment. Think about it. A different piece of equipment. You know, some places it rains a lot. You got to bring out the umbrella. You know, just like I said, wintertime, bring out your boots. You know, different piece of armor, if you want to think about it in that way. It's the same thing with life or whatever. You pack some things up, you bring out some new things. It's the same way with every season of our life. And we have to get to a place where we get out of our head that it's always family over everything. It's always, yeah, they're your family, in spite of, forgive them. You know, give them another chance. Keep going. No. That word family will bring you down. That word family will have you 6 feet under. That word, because we've been taught to keep allowing access to us in spite of the offense levels, in spite of them not helping us. We've been taught. This goes back to the generational things. That's why we unlearn to relearn, because we've been programmed without knowing it. Our parents were programming us without realizing what they were programming, because their parents prior to them, and it just goes on and on. But we've been taught certain things in our childhood that our parents meant well. But as we get older, once again, and have our own relationship with God and have our life experiences, we realize that parable was not correct. Like that quote don't stand. I don't believe in that quote like I did back then. It means something different to me now. So you really have to understand that it does not matter the relationship that a person is to you. Once they disturb your peace, once they're negative, they distract you on your journey, they're not fulfilling you, they're not pouring into you. If you call them and need something, every time they're unavailable, you have to let that go. Access denied, and you can't feel guilty about it, because I promise you, they don't feel guilty about it.
So I mean, listening to you and just hearing you, you said a word that, well, you said two words that really resonated just then, and I kind of like made a note. And for those of you who are listening, we are talking with Miss Felicia, the CEO of Yep She Can Network. And basically, you said life experiences brings about an awakening. And when that awakening happens, either you're going to elevate to be better, or you're going to reverse and allow yourself to be devalued. And many times we find ourselves dealing with the word that I made note of, offense. And rather than handling the offense, it takes boldness. To deal with offense, you got to make bold moves. Rather than handling the offense, sometimes we harbor the offense, and it becomes a cancer. It eats at us, and it disturbs our peace. What would you say to a person today that's listening that has been harboring offense, and they cannot seem to let it go?
Meaning someone has offended them, and they can't let it go.
Yes.
You have to learn what grace is. We have to start with that. Learn what grace is. We have to lead with understanding. Because to understand anyone, you have to understand their past. And you have to look at each individually equally in that right, whether they're the offender or not. To understand anyone, you have to understand their past. Everyone is different. Everyone comprehends differently. Everyone, I can say 5 different things to 5 different people, and they may translate it in 5 different ways. We're just all different. That's how we're built. But we have to extend grace to ourselves first and foremost. Because sometimes we carry guilt from the offender. It reverses for some reason. It reverses sometimes, and we begin to question: did I contribute to that? What happened to me? So you have to extend grace to yourself, and you have to forgive yourself, and then you extend grace to the offender. It doesn't mean that you agree with the offense. You're doing this to free yourself up. You're doing this to gain a peace of mind. But if you find that hard to do, it still reflects back to self. At the end of the day, 99.9% of things reflect back to self, because we have choices. We even get to choose how we allow someone to make us feel. It's a choice. You know how people are, oh, they ticked me off so bad I had to such and such. That was a choice. You let them trigger you. You allowed them to trigger you. Regardless of your reaction, you allowed that to take you to that place. So it's going to always come back to self. And it's very difficult. All of us have dealt with that. I've dealt with that before, many of times, where I'm like, I don't understand it. I've been offended. I don't like it. You even think about the get back, like what can I do to get them back or whatever. We're human. We did that. But what are you really accomplishing? What are you really accomplishing at the end of that? What does it solve? It's not going to change the offense. It's not going to take that away. It's not going to take that away at all. It's not going to do anything but add something else to your plate. So now that's on your mind. So now you really are having a hard time healing from the issue. That's what it's going to do. But grace, extending grace to others is one of our key elements that we don't understand, because mental health is real. People, how they were raised is real. It's a lot of the reasons behind a lot of people's actions and stuff. It's always, once again, to understand anyone, you have to understand their past. And if you go look at their past, you'll be like, oh, I see why they probably did such and such.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and not only do I hear you, but I feel that I hear you, and I hear you saying that as you look at bold and taking bold moves, you got to be bold to extend grace, because in this world that we live in, extending grace puts you in a category of being soft, puts you in a category of being a pushover, it puts you in a category, according to the world standards, of being someone that people easily take advantage of. But life experiences says I got to be bold enough to extend grace, and not only extend grace, but I got to forgive myself first.
Absolutely.
Listen, for those of you who are listening to the broadcast, we are talking with Felicia Jackson Stanley, who is the CEO of Yep We Can Network.
Yep, she can.
Yep, she can. Yep, she can. Yep, yep, she can.
She matters.
She matters. Okay, thank you so much. And certainly, I'm excited that you are here. I'm excited that we've had a chance to have conversations prior to this, just to ensure that we could be a blessing to those who are listening. And I want to say that for you and I to talk today about bold moves, I think this is blessing so many of our listeners, because there are so many people who don't know what it is. They feel like being bold is being arrogant, is having an attitude, but it's not. It's a gentleness that is being released in the atmosphere when it comes to others. Oh wow! Here's a comment. It said, not that you haven't come to terms, but because others keep resurrecting it.
Mhm. Absolutely.
But even if they're resurrecting it, it shouldn't bother you.
It goes back to self.
Wow.
It still goes back to self. In spite of who's saying what, who's bringing it back to life, it still goes back to self. You have to do the work yourself. You have to accept yourself. You have to extend grace to yourself and others yourself. You have to forgive yourself as well as others. It still goes back to self. So it doesn't matter. One thing about it, if a person tries to come to you with gossip, and when they come to you with gossip, if you change the topic every time, guess who's going to stop coming to you for gossip? That individual, because you chose to not respond how you normally would respond. You chose to not entertain it. You chose to dead the situation. So guess what? They can no longer come to you with that same thing. They have to come to you with a different kind of talk next time. See where I'm going with this?
Mhm.
It's self. It's still self. If you feel like you deaded the situation and you shut down anything that even comes to try to take you backwards, they'll stop coming to you. They're watching your response to it. As long as you engage in conversation, they're going to engage in conversation. You have to choose to shut it down. Like, that's over with. That's a done deal. And I promise you, they won't keep resurrecting it because they won't have anyone to talk to.
Wow. Hey, listen, the comments are just, I mean, here's a comment. It says, we have to stop giving people so much power over our moods and our minds.
Absolutely. And that's what has happened. And that's when you take a bold move, guess what? That's a part of the surrendering. You've chosen to do away with that. Just like you're choosing to say, God, I trust you. You're choosing to say, I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care who it offends. I don't care who does not understand. I don't care what's been the norm all this time. This is for me. This is for self. You have to stay focused on the prize, which is yourself. You are the prize. Stay focused on that. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I promise you, it will be some of the best decisions you've ever made in your life. And then you'll be questioning why you hadn't did it sooner. I promise you. I promise you. It's so rewarding. I myself, when I began to make bold moves, I felt so liberated. I just felt so free. I felt like a weight had lifted off me. When I began to say no, and I stood on that no, when they were waiting to see if that no turned into a yes, I still stood on it. A week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, a year later, my no is still no. That's some of the best. Oh my gosh, it's one of the best feelings ever, because once you see the results of that no, it becomes easier to start saying no. You just have to. You limit that access to you. And then you, guess what? You also, in exchange, only start attracting things that are helping you align with the place that you're trying to go. You start, it's like a magnet. You start gravitating those things. That energy that you give out, that boldness, I promise you, you'll start attracting all the right things, all the right people. You'll get creative with your ideas. You'll have more confidence in the things that you're doing. The resources will align. You have to. I promise you.
Well, listen, for those of you who are just tuning into the broadcast, we are in a conversation with Miss Felicia Jackson Stanley, who is the CEO of Yeah, She Can Network. And one of the things that we are talking about today, Tori, Jesse, is the importance of being bold.
Yeah.
And because of life experiences, all of us have to come to grips with either your life experiences is going to make you bitter or it's going to make you better. And the only way that you're going to be better is that you have a boldness in how you move throughout the days, the seasons, because seasons change. And when seasons change, we have to understand what season we're in. I want to ask this because you're getting ready to do something that I just feel like it's going to be life-changing. I feel like it's going to be liberating for so many. And certainly it's a bold move. And that is to be able to share with people once a month. You're going to be right here once a month, every Wednesday. Not every Wednesday, every third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
Every third Wednesday,
Yeah.
you're going to be having a show right here.
Yeah.
And that show is entitled
Raw Combos with Felicia
Raw
will be
Combos.
Yes.
That's a bold move.
Raw, the acronym real and worthy. It's where the conversations are real and worthy. So I will be joining you guys every third Wednesday of the month with a new topic, new conversation, new ideas, just bringing you authentic conversation, unrehearsed, just talking about life in general with truth and transparency. So
Wow.
I'm excited about that.
So let's talk about it with a few minutes that I have left. Let's talk about this because I'm excited about it because first of all, it goes back to bold move. It's a bold move. Our audience spans over 10 to 12,000 listeners, and I'm excited about the fact that one, we can in 2025 give to our listening audience diversity of personalities.
Yeah.
And I think that for the Greg James Show, it's inspiring, it's informative, it's innovative. I feel that those who speak to the audience that tunes in every Wednesday from 2 to 3, their own life experience can break chains, can set people free. And to say that you are going to be every third Wednesday with raw, real, and worthy. I'm getting it right. It's taking me a moment to process.
Raw Combos with Felicia.
Raw combo. For the few minutes that we have left, I want to dive into that because I want my listeners who are tuned in now to understand that it's a bold move. It's a bold move to have real and raw conversations with Felicia because people aren't having real conversations anymore.
They're not, and that's a part of my purpose of having my podcast, Raw Combos with Felicia, that I created last year. I put it on hold, but I'm back once again. I revamped myself, rebranded myself, and I feel like there's not enough honest conversations happening, so being had, and so many people have a habit of telling you what they think you want to hear.
Wait, can I stop?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in a world where people are not bold enough to tell you what you need to hear.
Absolutely.
But we become clay in other people's hands and we say what they want to hear.
That's how it
How damaging is that?
Because imagine a world where you never know the truth. You never know the truth. That seems like a world where everyone is robotic, if you ask me. We go through life navigating it the way someone taught us. They gave us a blueprint to navigate it a specific way. We're all individuals with different DNA makeup, different habits, different desires, different purposes. And we've been taught that as well. You know, you don't speak bold, you know, even with your words, even as a kid, you know, when you're outspoken and you're the one who's always raising your hand, that was looked upon as you always raising your hand. You always got a question. That's boldness. The one to step outside of the norm and not worried about what anybody is thinking or saying, but you're choosing to work on self. That's me. I need to know this for me. This is how I feel satisfied and to learn in this way or whatever it is. We have become accustomed to just saying those things that bring comfort to the other person. But it's time to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how we have to move. We can't just be satisfied with mediocre and the norm of things or the things that make us comfortable and always make us feel good. With growth, it requires uncomfortableness. With change, that's uncomfortable because that's the unknown. You can't say I'm ready for bold moves if you want only the things that bring comfort to you. It's gonna be some things where you gotta question things yourself, the people around you, question what you've learned, question the decisions that you made in life, whether they were good or bad. You know, we have to take control of our lives. We can't continue to let our parents control our lives, our siblings, our friends, even our spouse, because that can be an issue that people don't even talk about. The influence of a spouse, the person you're connected to, one of the main people that you're connected to, they can influence your life. They can hinder you. You know, they can assist in blocking blessings unknowingly. It doesn't mean they're being intentional about it, but we have to be bold and just say, I'm choosing me. I'm choosing transparency. I'm choosing to live in my truth. You know, I'm going to speak my truth from now on going forward. I don't care about the pushback, the negative feedback that I get. I'm choosing to live in my truth and walk in my truth. That's the only way.
So it's happening. Mark your calendars. Every third Wednesday of the month, it's raw, real, and worthy conversations with Felicia. And these are conversations that's going to be transparent. There's going to be full of truth. They're going to help break barriers. They're going to help bind the spirit of fear. These are conversations that you only heard about, but these are conversations that now you get a chance to know about. I want to thank Mary Washington. She made this comment. She said, "Believe in you because your voice is important, because your dream matter, because there's only one you, because you are worth it."
Absolutely, Mary. Yes, I love it. Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. I got it. Listen to comments. And Shirley Pittman say, emotions that swing is an unexpected time when one catch you off guard. Address how those can create change with their own actions, even though they thought they had prepared for change. However, again, the response was one after they felt bad about emotions that leap out. Emotions have a way of leaping out, and they do it without us processing what needs to be said. They have taken control.
Are we talking about the negative emotions?
The negative emotions.
It happens. You're human. Extend grace to yourself. It happens to all of us. It's what you do after you do that thing. Do you go back and apologize to the person? Do you go back and have a conversation? Do you reflect on it yourself and say, I could have chose better words. I could have handled that a totally different way. What did you do after it? It doesn't mean we're walking in perfection, but how do you correct the things that should be corrected? You know, that's what it's all about. We're all going to have outbursts. We eat food that shifts our hormones. So we're probably we get one or two active foods a month. You know, it's how you go back and handle those things that matter. But extend grace to yourself for
Wow.
that. Yeah.
So raw, real, and worthy conversations every third Wednesday of the month, right here from 2 to 3. You're going to have conversations with Felicia. And basically, what brought you to the point of knowing that if we're going to really find ourselves being bold, then real and worthy conversations not only must be had with you, but do people need to have them with themselves?
Absolutely. That's the self-check. I do self-checks all the time. I go over situations. I do mine weekly. You can do it monthly, you can do it however often you want, but I do mine weekly. I reflect on conversations I've had, some of my actions as a wife, as a mother, as a sibling, as a friend, because I take all of those responsibilities very serious. So I always strive and I pray to ask God to help me be a better version of myself every single day. And if I did something yesterday that was disappointing to myself or another or something like that, I try to correct that. I don't try to keep going backwards and I got to keep apologizing for the same thing over and over and over. That's insane. You know, but once again, I'm intentional about that.
Okay. Wow. Let me ask you this. Wanda asked, what did you do after the negative emotions? What do you do after the negative emotions?
I check myself. I acknowledge it. First of all, we have to have that awareness. For sure. We have to have that awareness. We have to be in tune with ourselves and say, okay, I was a little worked up. You know, I said some things or did something that I shouldn't have. Let me first acknowledge it within myself. Let me process everything and realize where I could have did better or what I did wrong or said wrong. And then you go back to that person. That's the problem, you know, with a lot of us, especially in the Black community. We're supposed to take offense after offense after offense, and nobody said I'm sorry. And we know in life is some I'm sorry's that you'll never get, but for yourself and for what you know you would want in exchange for it, go apologize. Go express yourself now in a better way, or really get your words out, what you're trying to get out in that moment. Get it out better tomorrow. You know, cool off, but don't leave it unaddressed. Don't leave it unaddressed.
Wow. Hey, listen, for those of you who are tuning in and for the few minutes that we have left, this has been amazing. Listen, if this has been a blessing to you, certainly I'm appreciative that you took the time to one, commit to joining the station to talk once a month with your show, Real and Worthy Conversations with Felicia, simply because we're in a moment, we're in an hour where it's only what you do that's real, that's really going to matter. And I believe that we have come to the grips and we've come to the conclusion that the fake, the phony, it really has a way of burdening us. Because when we really understand who the real person is, it becomes heartbreaking when you have made yourself available to people that you thought were real,
right? And
then you discover that they were phony, that they wasn't real. You've gone out of your way. You sacrifice
above and
beyond to only discover.
Vouch for all of that. Yes, it happens to the best of us. But that's another thing. I always ask God to not harden my heart based on the offenses that have come towards me. I always ask that. It doesn't matter how I feel, how much I think a person is wrong. I still pray and ask God not to harden my heart, because I know everyone is not the same. You know, but that goes back to also discernment, paying attention to patterns. You know, patterns don't lie. If you've had history of this person doing the same thing over and over, it's something wrong with you and not them. They're being who they are. That's something you have to question yourself about. They've showed you who they are numerous times. You're expecting something different. They're not interested because they're going to choose to still be them. So a lot of responsibility falls right back to us. It reflects right back to self. You know, but it happens to the best of us. We're going to get used up, talked about, lied on. Even when you correct the truth, they still rather believe the lie. You know, so that's a prime example why you can't worry about other people. You have to do what you do for yourself, live for yourself, make moves for yourself, stay focused on the prize, which is yourself. It doesn't matter. I promise you, all those people don't matter. All those popularity groups and got to be at every event, every time the doors open in every room. That's giving too much access to everyone. That's giving too much access to them. You don't have to be everywhere all the time on every scene and say yes to everything, and then you feeling guilty the one time you say no, because there's some people gonna act like that one no was a million no's. I promise you, but that'll also tell you about that person. They only wanted you for the yeses. The moment you say no, you're gonna see if they're really for you, if they're gonna respect that or not. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, listen, hey, this has been an amazing conversation, and certainly every third Wednesday, mark your calendars, every third Wednesday right here over Hallelujah 95.3, it's going to be Real and Worthy Conversations with Felicia. I mean, this platform is extending voices to voices that have volume, that's going to help your life become very victorious. Wow, did I just say that? Let me see, can I push rewind and say that one more time? This platform is extending voices to people who are going to have volume with their voice and help your life to become victorious. And I just believe that raw, Real and Worthy Conversations, that's going to be happening right here every third Wednesday. It's going to be a show that helps you break free, because it's the life experiences, it's the truth and the transparency that you're going to hear coming through this through this radio, through the virtual sounds, that's going to give your life new meaning. I tell people all the time, a bald-headed man can't sell hair grease. Every time I see him, he got his hair bald, but he's trying to sell hair grease. Your experiences, they're going to break people free. Your bold moves are going to help people break barriers and experience breakthrough. So certainly, I want to say, Felicia, thank you so much for joining us today. And certainly, for those of you who are listening, it's going to be happening every third Wednesday, real and raw. Did I just say real and raw?
You did, but it's real and worthy conversation.
But it's conversations that's wrong. A raw conversation.
Raw combos with Felicia, where the conversations are real and worthy.
Okay, well, she took a bold move and corrected me. The conversations are real and worthy. I thought they were raw too.
Thank you for having me, though. It was a pleasure. Per usual, our conversations go deep, a lot of thought-provoking conversations. So it's a pleasure. It just feels like fun right now.
It is. And the thing about it that's so rewarding is to be able to hear and see some of the comments that people are making about how important the bold move was. And to be here today only says it's a bold move. And it's a bold move, not for you, but it's a bold move to say there were others who need to know what I know, need to hear what I need to say. And that's bold. So I want to thank you for joining us today. And for all of you who tuned in, wherever you tuned in from, I pray that this broadcast has been a blessing to you. And remember, don't forget now, it only happens right here on the Greg James Community Show, where the conversations are informative, inspiring, and innovative. Want to say good afternoon to the GOAT himself, none other than the man that's always on the interstate making money. They call him Interstate Money, Dexter Gold. I want to say good afternoon, Yaquanda Speak Life, Shirley Pittman. How are you, Rico? Want to say good afternoon to you. Want to say good afternoon to Pastor Stephen Caldwell. Thank you so much for joining us. Pastor Green, thank you so much for tuning in. Want to give a big shout out to, let me get to him. That's right, Travis Wood. Yvonne Stewart, thank you for tuning in. Also want to give a big shout out to, let me get to his name, Kedrick. Bless you. Let me get to this pastor here. I got to get to him. I saw him come on the screen. I know. Lenitra Bennett, thank you so much for joining us today. Kim Moore. I'm excited. I'm getting ready to bring her home. She's going to be talking to me real soon in our audience. We got a lot to talk about. Troy Ford, bless you. And certainly we thank God for all of you. Well, until Katie, bless you, until next Wednesday, it's going to be Conversations with the Conscious Chick next Wednesday. And then we'll get ready for February. But until then, I want y'all to be blessed.
Thank you.
All right. Well, listen, it's been an amazing time, and I'm sure you all been blessed by the whole thing. But don't forget, mark your calendars. Third Wednesday is going to be Conversations that's real and worthy with Felicia.
Yes.
Raw, but they real and worthy.
Yes.
Quanda McCall said, I love you, Felicia Jackson Stanley.
Yes.
Well, my God, I wish I could have got some love, Quanda, but it's okay. Fear, Kelly. Fear will cripple you. Absolutely.
Absolutely, Kelly. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It definitely will. Hey, listen, until the next time, listen, y'all follow her on what's all the pages they can follow you?
Felicia Jackson Stanley on IG, on Facebook, on TikTok, Felicia Jackson Stanley, or Yep, She Can.
Y'all do it. Hey, Sanjay, man, did you enjoy the show? Thank you. Yeah, thank you both. Absolutely. Absolutely. I said I love you, boo. What do you say, boo to? I don't know whether you're talking to me or her. But however, I love you too. All right. Hey, listen, y'all be blessed. And remember, your life matters. So start making
bold moves.
2025.